Okay guys, today Motor Guy out here with a quick video on how not to be a parts changer. And what that means is, if you're having a problem with your car, you don't just throw parts at it and it doesn't fix it. It keeps throwing parts at it and it doesn't fix it. I know that most people are not mechanics, but you watch my videos. I have a lot of videos on how to diagnose and troubleshoot cars, all types of cars. Here's one I just got in. Typical example, this car came in with a misfire. All right, so as you can see, we got the old spark plugs. Old spark plug wires, spark plugs they were thrown out, and the coils. And these are the boxes, they're brand new. Okay, did it fix the problem? No. All right, because first of all, he went at it the wrong way. Now what I did is I hooked up a scan tool, all right, to see what's misfiring. It was misfiring, number 4 cylinder was misfiring. Forget about a lot of variations of what it could be, electrical, fuel, or whatever. The easiest way to diagnose a misfire is with a compression tester, a compression test with a gauge, like this one. A simple gauge, you plug it into the spark plug hole after you take the spark plug out, and you crank the engine over. Now, there's a lot of ways to crank it over, but you can just do it this simple way. It was a number 4 that was misfiring, so I took the plug out. Forget about it, even if it didn't have spark, if it didn't have fuel. I was interested in, first of all, does it have compression? And sure enough, it had no compression. So that means that it's a mechanical misfire. It's not a regular, typical electrical or fuel misfire. It's a mechanical, meaning there's something mechanically wrong. All right, so right away it had no compression. There's no need to put new spark plugs. There's no need to put spark plug wires. There's no need to put ignition coils or whatever you want to do. There's no need. All right, the compression has to be at a minimum. Let's give it the bottom minimum. It has to be 90. You see this? Let's say 90. 90 is enough to spark fuel. Not necessarily to be the healthiest engine in the world, but this engine had nothing. It had like 5. All right, it has to have at least 90 to 100 at least to fire. Okay, if you have spark and if you have fuel. Okay, now if it has less than that, if it has 20 or 30, don't even bother. That's it. Your problem is the valves, the piston, the rings, the crank, or whatever it can be. Basically, you're gonna have to take the engine apart, just like I have to do on this one. Okay, so I know you need a couple of tools, but you can get you can have, let's say if you have a misfire, you can go to AutoZone, one of those Pep Boys or whatever, those places, and they usually run the codes for you for free. And if it's a misfiring code, like the engine shaking, all right, it'll tell you which cylinder's misfiring. Now, if they're all misfiring, that's a little bit different, and you're gonna have to have a little bit more diagnostic knowledge on that. But usually, it's just a cylinder. And yes, a lot of times it's a specific cylinder. I'm sorry. And a lot of times, yes, it's the spark plugs, the wires, if your car has wires, or the coils, or the coils. Coils and spark plugs are usually the most common. But this guy spent like $150, $200 for no reason, and you can't bring these parts. As a matter of fact, let me show you here. See, those are brand new. These are brand new coils. These are brand new wires. You see, and you got a brand new same problem. Okay, so that would be the easiest way. Let's say if you came back from AutoZone, and this is doing with guys that don't really have tools. You would have to try to buy something like this. It's always good to have this. About $30. You can get it on Amazon. All right, compression tester. It unhooks here. It unhooks here, like this, and you screw this. See, that's what it looks like, a spark plug. You screw it into the spark plug hole, and then you hook it back up. And what you can do is, there's proper ways to do a compression test on a healthy engine if you're trying to pinpoint or fine-tune it. But we're just talking about a dead miss. Okay. Now, you could disconnect disable the fuel, or just take the spark plug. Yeah, the fuel is the best way, because you don't want to wash the cylinders down. And you screw in let's say if it was number 3 that's misfiring, you screw in this. And let's say as soon as you crank it, you put the throttle wide open. Okay, disconnect either pull the fuel fuse or the relay so it doesn't start. Put your foot to the floor, crank it about 5-6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Now you look at the compression gauge. That gauge says 90 or higher. It should say higher. All right, then you know, okay, it's probably ignition. It's probably or fuel, and most likely it's probably ignition. But if that gauge reads 0, you just stop right there, and basically the engine has to be checked out. All right, and what I mean by that is it has to be taken off. The head has to come off minimum to see what's going on in there. All right, guys. So, but if it's not, and you have good compression, then you can test it the opposite. Then you can switch coils around, and let's say if you have a number 1 coil, let's say number 3 was misfiring, you put number 2 coil in number 3, and you put number 3 and number 2, and now it goes to number 2, then you know it's the coil. If it still stays at number 3, then you know it's not the coil or the plug. Do the same thing with the spark plug. Then it could be fuel, a fuel injector. All right, and the fuel injector is a little bit harder to swipe over, but at least you'll be in the right direction. At least not throwing money at a car that has no compression. All right, guys, just a quick video, motor car nut. Hit the like button. Please subscribe. Any questions, leave them below. I answer all my questions. Watch all my other videos for a lot of cost-saving tips to save you a lot of money and get you back on the road. Thanks, guys. Bye.